Alright everyone, it's time for Vermont Issues, episode 110. Some co-op commies have gone a week without power. See, we had that big storm that I mentioned before, and that's why that one day I didn't make my videos until the afternoon. We lost power here in the late evening, and it stayed off until mid the next day. Like, I can't remember, I know it was right before I had my chat with Logic Tree. It was literally like an hour before that it came back on, so it was like I was relieved because I was worried I was gonna have to go to like a public Wi-Fi spot or you know, to contact her and say, hey, I can have to put this off, I can't do it. The power came back on. So we got power less than 24 hours later. Like, it was quite a while. Like, usually when power goes off here, they're pretty good about reestablishing it within, I'd say, like 2 hours. Usually not even that long. Sometimes it's literally an hour later. You know, one thing fell on a line, they replace it, and you're good to go. This is the second longest power outage I ever saw. The longest was almost 4 days of intermittent problems, including a day and a half, and this was years ago. We had, I think there was the November ice storm. We had a day and a half without power. And then it came back on for a few hours, which was just long enough to like get a hot shower and fill some more water and stuff, and it was very prudent to do that. Then it went off for another half a day, and it came on early in the morning, and then it fizzled out a couple more times thereafter, but was generally more stable. And it was like hell, because of course, you know, you can't really cook. All the businesses, their power was out, so a lot of goods spoiled. You couldn't even attain a hot meal. And at the time I didn't have MREs or anything, so it was pretty bad. But this co-op, which is basically this sort of community-owned power thing, it services several tens of thousands of people. Most of them are still without power a week later. That is, they're not using the capitalistic business entity that has a profit motive in mind in getting the power back on. See, the way a private business works, let's say you own a power company. You want to reestablish power as quickly as possible because you're making zero money from anybody that you're not delivering it to. That's the product that you're selling. Your supply line breaks down, you're making nothing. You're losing a huge amount of money just by existing if you're not actually giving anyone electricity. So they have a reason to reestablish it just as quickly as possible. And within 2 days, like 99% of everyone who had lost power had it reestablished. The co-op, meanwhile, doesn't really have that motive. See, therein lies the problem of such collectivist efforts. They cannot work because there's no motive for them to be efficient. Essentially, it's just pure survivalism at most, and then it's within that community. So the communists there, I guess they still don't have power. Now, you'd think if a group of people didn't want to deal with like a corporate entity for power, you'd think what they would want to do is to establish a decentralized production of it, like put solar panels and stuff up. Those would still presumably be working. I'd have, you know, propane generators or something. Those temporarily, you know, up to a week or so, they'll be just fine. Now, then you start running into, hey, you know, it's constantly loud and we have to run it 24/7. We're getting fucking tired of this stuff. Slap it out in a concrete wigwam somewhere and not have a problem with it, I guess. But they're still without power. Sucks to be them, I suppose, because they're not using Green Mountain. They're using their own community co-op. They've got problems. I couldn't imagine, like, if you were without internet for, you know, for most of you, like, if your cell tower goes down, you can't use your phone, you'd, like, immediately have a heart attack or something. Now, I don't use the smartphone and stuff, so for me it's all about, hey, I access the internet, I sit here and use the laptop. That's my idea of cool to do. I don't like the smartphone stuff, because, I mean, what the hell am I going to do with it? Because I prefer not to have to go out. One of the reasons I like being self-employed is I don't have to go out as much. But I can't even imagine, like, if there was a week-long power outage, not being able to use the internet at all, having to go somewhere else. At that point, I'd probably just get a vacation. I'd go to public Wi-Fi, book a ticket, and go somewhere else for a week or two, and say to hell with it. And I know that there are other people who'd probably do the same on my end. And I can only imagine if there was some, like, e-commerce, like, entrepreneur in this community using this collective power here. I would start to lose vast amounts of money, probably, if I were to go a week without posting anything online. So for somebody like me, it would be, in commercial terms only, it would be a huge problem. So hopefully anyone up there that's got that issue, hopefully they've decided, hey, I'll go to like the Roadway Inn or fucking, the Hampton or something, so that I can get Wi-Fi and do what I need to do. Because otherwise, I'd probably lose thousands of dollars. So, wonderful for the communalists. That's about all. Peace out.